Happy Sunday, everybody. How is it going? Uh, Hopefully well for everybody, right? Okay, so today is going to be a jam-packed day. Jam-packed. Okay. Why? Because outside of the sheer amount of news that's going on, which if you're following is just insane. It's insane. The amount of news on a daily basis regarding AI has picked up speed so much that that's why I say I think that we're in like a 2.0 phase because just the rate has almost doubled what it was in the beginning. Think back on it, okay? When all of this first started out, it was very much, I don't know, it was all like GPT, right? Everything was GPT this, GPT that, right? And nothing like nothing necessarily wrong with that, right? But it wasn't like, hey, these are the advancements necessarily that are being made as a result of it. It was just like, here's what you can do with this one tool, which is awesome, right? Because it was the doorway into what we were going to be able to do later on. It was the introduction to generative AI. It's the introduction of how to work with this technology and all that to get comfortable with it and get used to it and all that kind of thing, right? But at the end of the day, um, realistically, anyhow, uh, it only now I think like we're really starting to see where this stuff is taking us. So, what are some examples of that? I kind of went into it a little bit last week in terms of what Microsoft was doing. Okay, so this is what's crazy to me. Last week, I find out that, and I'm not sure the news about it, the exact news might have been the week before, could have been. I'm not sure. At this point. It's all happening at such a rate that it's actually difficult for me to even keep up with, like when everything is going down. So I talked about Microsoft moving into the nuclear power plant stage. So I mean, you have to understand, like, there's only a couple things that limit all of this stuff from working as well as it does. Um, hey, Leonard, how's it going, man? Um, there's only like a few factors that keep this stuff from working as well as it does, and one of the main factors is power. The other main factor is water or just coolant, right? So power to push the capability with the chipsets and everything as as high as possible. The same is true of because it's all being run by GPUs, by graphic processing units, which just the demand for the amount of power that you need out of those is just it's ridiculous. And the other aspect of that is, of course, if you're using that much power, then you're also creating that much heat, so you need a lot more coolant. So water cooled systems tend to be the best and most efficient systems for use. If I got to imagine that if there was something better, they would be using it, right? Because these should already be this, some of the smartest people working on this stuff. But at the same time, you have to real like the evolution is going pretty quickly, even in terms of the hardware and what hardware is getting used and how it's getting configured and everything. So even that's happening fairly quickly at this point. The what I'm trying to get to is the initial blowback of this stuff from an environmental point of view was how much water was getting used. Okay. Then they also looked into like how much of a power draw goes on with it as well. So then you've got Microsoft deciding it's going to build its own nuclear reactor, right? Which, by the way, is not anybody who's about to say Chernobyl, something like that, or like first of all, like Fukushima is not even worth bringing up because of the fact that there was an earthquake involved with that. It's not like it went. It's not like things went south as a result of like bad containment or something like that. So really, the only example is Chernobyl, right? The only recent example, and outside of that, what we know for a fact is that nuclear power is by far and away it is the most efficient power source, the most renewable source that we have. there is nothing like really there's nothing more efficient than nuclear power. So you almost have to ask yourself like why there haven't been more already. Anyhow, Microsoft's deciding to build one. Sam Altman is putting money behind two nuclear power plants, miniature nuclear power plants, which I'm assuming that Microsoft's going to be miniature as well, that are going to be in Ohio. Okay, so Ohio is kind of starting to turn into this little. I didn't realize this. I moved here before any of this started happening. Well, I moved here after GPT was out and everything like that, but I mean before I knew what any sort of developments that were going on. And living out here, you know, they are just now laying fiber cable down the street. So in terms of infrastructure for technology, ripe for the picking. Okay, got an Amazon distribution center that just got built out here. So industrially, things are booming out here. It makes for a perfect hub of transportation to be able to bring industrial materials in. Colleges here are very, very focused on science, bioscience, just science in general, STEM programs, and AI programs. And again, it lends itself to the conditions. So that's kind of nice, and it's a weird offset. So anyhow, you might be saying like, oh well, using nuclear power, even that being a renewable source, what about the toxic waste from nuclear power? What about all that kind of stuff? Most people don't realize the toxic waste is actually recycled in almost every case. So it's not it's not the barrel storage buried underground type stuff that you hear about. Um, at any rate, with these plants, so last week there's those announcements. This week there's another announcement. MIT and Harvard have been killing it. Like in terms of the research that they've been doing, they have been absolutely killing it. So MIT and Harvard, I can't remember now because I posted so many yesterday. I want to say that was the one. Um, Let me see if I can find it. So many stories in the last 48 hours. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, okay. So it is MIT on its. Let's see, was it on its own? No. Yeah, it was their supercomputing center. Okay, figures out how to lower the amount of uh, necessarily like lower the amount of power and energy that's needed in order to train these models. And the way in which they do that, kind of seems obvious at first, but again, like I said, the evolution of the environmental savings of this stuff, or being like the whatever the environmental friendly aspects of this, take time as well. If you think about the initial industrial revolution, right? We were powering trains with coal. Right? It was like the worst possible method of powering a train. Okay, that causing like the most like highest amount of carbon emission, highest amount of use of natural resource, with lowest output of efficiency. Okay, eventually we moved on. It took forever to move on, but eventually we did. Here's what's crazy: we have this LLM technology that came out in like 2012, 2011. I mean, like a little bit before that too, but in if in language model form. I don't want to talk about like the very simplistic stuff of AI technology. If you want to talk AI tech, it goes way further back. But if we're talking about just like the large language model stuff that really is having like a huge positive effect on humanity right now, we'll go that far back. And so the training for that stuff, it wasn't quite as public, and Google was kind of just sitting on it. So let's just kind of move that out of the frame, because again, it wasn't like very mainstream. It wasn't like a ton of companies were working on it. A ton of companies and everything started working on it probably around closer to like 2018, 2017, 2018. And then of course, like sort of the explosion due to OpenAI happened at the end of last year, right? So from the end of last year to now, so many new models have been trained on information. Okay, so that's really the starting point here. So you've got nuclear power plants being built that are going to power this stuff, right? And now you've got a new form of training that's come out, and this new form of training has, you know, from what I'm looking at, uh, is supposed to reduce the payload of energy that's needed for training by about 80%, between 60 and 80%. Okay. So right when they go to increase the amount of power they're going to use for output, at the same time, the necessary power gets reduced by more than half for new models that get trained in this method. And the method is, again, it sounds fairly simple, but there's a lot of complexity to this stuff. I don't even want to pretend to understand what's under the hood of a lot of these things. I'm slowly but surely getting into that aspect of it. But again, it's to go into explanation here is like it takes a long time. And so really all that you need to understand is that what's being done now in terms of training is the models are essentially there's a limit that's getting set. So instead of them like just throwing everything and anything at them, right? Now it's basically being tuned to say, let's put a threshold of like 90%. So when the model reaches a 90% accuracy with regard to a particular resource or a particular subject matter or whatever the case may be, it's accepted and it immediately moves on to the next aspect, right? So instead of just contain, or instead of trying to reach 100% accuracy, which who knows how much data that, if I'm saying 100% accuracy of mathematics, that means you need every single piece of mathematics out there, right? Which is awesome. It's really awesome to have that much information in one sitting, but it probably takes a crazy amount of time, takes, and it takes a crazy amount of resources, right? When realistically, you are just looking for something to be seriously more accurate than a human being, right? But it doesn't have to be insane, like to that degree. Like it doesn't have to be insanely accurate, right? Especially if it's in the form of a neural network where it can learn, right? If you're able to teach it within a degree of, let's say, 75%, and then its neural network processing capability can sort of pick up from there, sort of like Dabus does, then it will on it, obviously if you were to take the chains off of input limitation, even if you left them on and you just worked with the model back and forth, you would still have to do some additional training, but eventually it would likely be able to put together, how to advance its own understanding, let's say, of mathematics by working in tandem with you. No differently than working in tandem in any conversation with GPT that you do, right? You do a little bit of teaching, you do a little bit of training with your conversations, because again, context. Every new conversation you open, GPT doesn't understand exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish. So you have to explain what the scenario is, explain what it is you're trying to do, so that it has an understanding, it has a context of like, okay, this is the goal, the overall goal we're trying to. So way, way, way far away from the initial again. But power plants being built, training, reducing the amount of power that's needed, and now a new research, or sort of research breakthrough, whatever you want, however you want to classify it, has actually allowed, and this is the type of breakthrough that I've been waiting on, and this is the breakthroughs, like the sort of the style and types of breakthroughs that are going to really push things forward. And I don't know why it's taken so long for so many companies to like follow up with this kind of stuff. To me, it just seems natural that this is the direction you would want to go in. But using what I'm getting at is like using language, not large language models, but using um, uh, this kind of technology in order to better create better versions of things we already have and that we already use every day. So using not a language model, but using an AI system that's been trained, and I suppose a language model doesn't matter, um, that's been trained to, I don't know, create more efficient cars, different types of cars, let's say. So it's trained on every single version of every car, every single version of an engine, all of that kind of stuff, all in the effort to create, the best type of a car, right? Particular type. There's no, I don't see why it's not being done. It seems to me that that's not necessarily a given, but it's definitely like it's a surefire method of making of like really having a company, I suppose, and solving a problem at the same time, right? Solving a problem of inefficiency. So even though it seems like it's not a necessary problem to solve, I don't know how you would classify that, but um, it's an issue with inefficiency in terms of like why else are we looking to create electric vehicles, right? Because we know that using gas vehicles is not as good as we should be. So at any rate, so now there's a new study that came out that or like um, doesn't allow for it. Sorry, um, allowed them to figure out uh, through using AI tech, enabled them to figure out how to make nuclear power plants more efficient. So one of the most well, excuse me, sorry, somebody is deciding to call me at the same time. Okay. Um, so there was some tech put together uh, that basically allowed them to create a more efficient version of um, gosh, I lost my place. I'm sorry. I really I don't know why when I'm trying to get through something is when the distraction decides to happen, but it is what it is. Anyway, so you're going to have they're going to have more efficient nuclear power plants being built. That's going to back this stuff up. On top of the fact that the new method of training is going to be more efficient, and that's only 1 year into like mainstream using this technology and mainstream developing this technology. So I don't know what the overall efficiency rating is, but essentially, I would say that they've managed to cut the resources needed to do the processing of this stuff essentially in half, right? So now even the initial concern of, oh, well, it uses too much water in order to do the cooling aspect of it because the system runs too hot because it's too inefficient. Well, now it's becoming more efficient and it's using a different type of um, electricity. I don't know how much that's that's going to matter or that's going to affect things. I don't know that that has any difference in terms of how the cooling is done necessarily. I don't think so. But again, at least it's going to be more environmentally friendly overall. Okay. So moving on from that, which that in and of itself is pretty ridiculously awesome in my opinion in terms of again like advancements being made and news that's come out and interrelated to what's going on with AI. A lot of people cover just what the GPT stuff is, which that's awesome. And there's been some like again even on that front, there's been some massive stuff, right? Like that's what most of today is going to be about is um, going into the like differences between GPT's Dolly 3 and what and Midjourney and Canva. I'm really excited to show you guys the Canva stuff, by the way. So outside of that, what else is going on? Well, we've got the advancements that are happening with just in generative AI in general. Uh, I don't know how many of you guys have noticed already. If you have Android, there's been a update to Google Google Assistant, and it's pretty ridiculous and it's pretty accurate. If you've ever used Google, if you have used your Google Assistant, as opposed to whatever if you have Pixel, obviously, or if you have a Google phone, this doesn't matter to you. You have this already. Plus, you have Android 14. Very lucky individuals. I prefer Samsung only because the tech, the hardware tech is a lot better in that direction. So I'm waiting for the 14 upgrade. I'm looking forward to it, but we'll see what happens. And there's a lot of generative features there. However, if you've been paying attention to your devices and stuff lately, there's been quite a few upgrades going on. There's been quite a bit happening. I'm noticing, even in terms of, let's go ahead and kick this off because let's see, share as best I can. And let's see. Sorry, just trying to also find the screen. Okay, so in terms of like what's been done with like Bard and what's been done on the Google front. Let's see, let's get Claude out as well. So you guys know that Bard has had it for a little bit longer. I mean, when I say a little bit, I mean like a week. That's the time span to go between this stuff in terms of like the tech versus like what's happening, or not, I shouldn't say like what's happening necessarily, but that's the time span between like when one person has a tool versus the other. And so when it comes to the generative tools, if you thought that one person, like only one service or one person was going to have this stuff, forget about it. Like every tool pretty much has a lot of the same features now, and if they don't have the exact same feature, they probably work with a third party that does. And I think that even Canva is on almost on a daily basis releasing new features already. When it comes to Bard and Claude, Claude has now got a much, much, much longer memory than it used to. It can definitely go back to like really early conversations. What I dislike about Claude is it seems as though ever since the pay form came out, the free form is super, super limiting now. Like maybe 20 messages, and then you're locked out for like 6 hours or something like that. Like if I use this enough right now and I give it, it's really the amount of input data you give it, which is weird to me. So in other words, the limitation is almost the same as if you were to use Code Interpreter, right? But instead of just using like 50 or the limitation of 50 prompts, which doesn't include, like if you give it a file, that's not included as part of that 50, right? It's just that's an attachment to the prompt. This is like maybe 8 to 10 or something like that with the same amount of data, let's say, because if you put enough text files and stuff like that in here, yeah, there you go. Like, and it's when it says 5 max at 10 megabytes a piece, let me tell you, if you put 2 files in here at 1 megabyte a piece, you might max out the conversation and its limitations, which is really, it sucks, but I don't know what else to tell you. Like that's the way that it is. But at least the memory with Claude is getting better. The memory with Pi is amazing now. It's gotten a lot better. If you use GPT or Bard on your phone or Bing Chat on your phone, which Bing Chat I don't really use on desktop at all. And I used to use Edge. I'm not even joking. I would like to use Edge. My only issue with it is that let's see. This is how little like I use it. Okay. Um, yeah. So I mean, and again, like Bing Chat is basically right. It's almost like a duplicate skin of GPT. It's not, obviously it doesn't visually look the same, but you're essentially using the same tool. I don't know if there's been like any major updates to that. I know that there's been um, some updates to it on the mobile app. I do use Bing on mobile. I use that more, or I use it in that sense more than I do anywhere else. Um, I haven't used it enough to be able to even be able to speak to the different like options that it has on desktop. Again, on mobile, I don't use it for doing anything like creating posts, or I don't use it for text. It's different. I use I use each one for a different purpose. Um, Again, Bing I don't use as often because what ends up, the reason I don't is I pretty much go between these two in terms of GPT-ish stuff. The reason I don't use Bing for text is because I have my preset custom instructions um, with GPT, so I don't have to like in that regard. It's going to be better by default because I'm not able to do that sort of customization here. Um, I almost don't need to do any customization with Claude. It writes really, really well. Like Claude is just basically like if it for a tool for writing, like it's amazing. So the 9 times out of 10, the output from GPT goes through into Claude and then comes and then gets used from there with whatever minor edits I might have to make. There are very few, I will say that for certain, in case anybody's wondering, which I'm sure you might not be, but anyhow, um, there are very, very few instances in which I'm able to uh, take the content immediately from one application. So, like, there are very few instances where I can take the content from uh, GPT and directly put it into something else, right? Like an email or something like that. And the reason for that, the reason for that is because it's it's still like it's not so much personalization, but it's just not exact. It's not like 95, it's like 95% of the way there. That's probably as close as I've been able to get it in terms of getting it to write like me or as close to me as possible. Like, and 95 is really, really good. The For me, I don't need to have 100% again because I want to review it. First of all, it's the summary, so I want to review the summarization, right? Because I look at the article, right, and I skim the article, and then I want to make sure that the summarization includes the aspects that I wanted to get across from skimming the article. So as long as that's there, that's good. If it's not, then I make that correction. And then after that's all said and done, even going through Claude, which basically what that does is natural, like that's what I call it. I don't know what the actual term is. Don't care. It basically naturalizes the text a little bit more. So again, I'm not a social media content writer person. I don't necessarily know how to speak to that degree. I can program GPT to try to do that as well as it can. But even then, there's going to be this slight limitation where it's going to, really, no matter what, you really have to strip out a lot of the things that GPT does when you give it descriptors. Either that, or you have to. The best way to do it is to essentially give it examples of your own work. Even in doing that, however, it's going to try to, what I like to think of is it's going to try to please you so much that it's going to overtly use even things that you say. So it will, let's say you feed it 50 examples of the way that you write posts. Well, you're going to get an output that's basically going to overuse any intro that you've used before. It'll sort of write it the same way with slightly different wording. It'll it, it'll take structured elements, like the way that you structure your elements, and it will just stamp them on every single post. Right? It won't create diversity in the way that it writes. So that's where you have to come in behind it and look at it and say, like, okay, well, the structure is there, but just not the way that I would word this particular one. Well, if I take the structure and then I put it through Claude, like I say, it sort of naturalizes it a bit more. It takes everything that's there, but it just reformats it, and keeping the same verbiage creates a much more natural flow that's slightly different from the way that I would do things, and just comes across again a bit more natural. It's not cookie cutter. It's not the exact same format, here and there. So that's where Claude comes in terms of like why that tool is used. Bard is a really great. Bard's really fun. It's really fun, and it's really like I don't know. It's really cool to use for like generic question type stuff. I've used it for coding. I've used it for like identifying objects. I've done it for like a video aspect where I was like, oh hey, like where can you travel to? What would it cost? And can you make like um, an entire whatever summary of where we should go. It's really good in that regard because it's using Google, right? So it's using either Google Maps, it's using all the uh, Google resources that other people use that they put all their information into. So for that kind of thing, it's very much like it's way better than most of the other tools because again, you have like the best possible mix going on there, right? Um, yeah. See, like a lot of people don't. Again, I say when I'm working with it, a lot of times when I'm showing you guys stuff, I don't. I sort of neglect it because I'm trying to work quickly, and so I kind of just forget. But um, when I work with GPT, I try to make it a. I try to make it a personalized conversation. I don't want it to be necessarily robotic. I want it to be very much like my ideal scenario is Jarvis, right? I want someone that I can talk to that responds back with the information that I need or performs the command that I have asked for, whatever the case may be. But then at the end of the day is still just, it's an assistant to me. It's not something that's and even if it comes in like, replicate form, that's totally fine. That would be awesome. I'd be totally fine with that. Um, but yeah, that's and I think that Apple is trying to do that. I think a lot of these services are trying to do that because I think we all have sort of the same nerd vision for this fantasy of having that, of having like a Jarvis type system that can use either augment. I think it'll happen with augmented reality first because that's easier, but a system that has like whatever um, a projection capability where you're able to interface with stuff just by identified movement from your hands to the projected surface. However, that's going to work. I don't know about that one, but we'll see. They're getting really good with hologram technology. I'm not going to like that aspect of things. I'll show you guys something really quick. If I can, if I can find it, that is. Let's see. So yeah, YouTube's always fun when you just like the amount of I don't know. I'm starting to hate YouTube because of the fact that it keeps like shoving the algorithm is just so messed up in the fact that it keeps throwing content at you that like you don't necessarily want to see. It's almost more that like it's content that you know what? Yeah, I could find it there. It's more so content that like oh, if we could um, let's see, Howie Mandel's it's content to make you it's clickbait basically. Um, Howie Mandel he did this 3D projection. Is that what it is? Hologram. That's sort of what it is. Yeah, this like that's a good example of it. Let's see. I think is this the doesn't really like unfortunately doesn't really like show how like this works, but you can kind of get an understanding like for it in terms of how realistic it is. And so like how this came about was, you know, if you know anything about Howie Mandel, he's got a bit of a yeah, there we go. He's got a bit of he's got a sort of like germophobia, right? No big deal. It is what it is. This is what this tech is like. So they have a camera set up here with a green screen, obviously, or whatever background they want to use, right? And the camera is able to see him. If he had like, it could be whatever, it could be Chad Smith with a drum kit, right? And it would still be the same way. So he's able to be here. His hologram is projected very, very awesomely lifelike somewhere else. And there's a full interaction that happens. So he's also got a camera, or he's also got a screen in front of him that shows him like what the people are doing on the other end so that he can interact with them. Right. And it's very, very cool stuff. Um, didn't mean to get super off topic with that, but just again, in terms of like what's going on technologically and what's becoming possible. Um, it's pretty amazing. Okay, so today I wanted to get into Canva and basically what's going on with their Magic Studio. Their Magic Studio is basically like, hey, this is all of our AI features and or generative AI features. And I have to say, it is like really jaw dropping in a lot of cases. So we'll start out with we'll start out with something that's like quick but fun, which is the presentation aspect of it. What's awesome about this is I have seen some like pretty cool presentations lately by several different people or what have you. I want to go into one that has a lot more slides to it, so we'll do. I don't really care. We'll do this one. Okay, cool. And so you can like do your traditional transition however you would normally do that, right? um and it's like it's not bad, right? You like it's pretty cool, like whatever the normal stuff is. Now you can, let's see, switch. No, of course I'm not gonna be able to find it, right? It's not Magic Media. That's also very awesome. um don't know why it's not showing up because it should. It's usually like where the stuff shows up. It usually, there we go. All right, so Magic Animate. So you can do like basically like it takes all the separated elements, right, and it splits them up so that you can do much different, like way better animations. And you can do this like per the page, right, and then add your transitions in between. I mean, come on. Like this is one thing that's like, again, it's like stupid simple, right? But imagine, like I know how many people do like these board meetings with these boring ass slide presentations, right? Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that it's the figure? Watch what's happening, right? Notice that it's like the full photo there, okay? And now you have photo movement within the image, right? It's the subject within the image. I'm telling you, like there's really, and I'm sure this is going to break out even further because this is aspect of it is amazing. But just the simple things going on here, right? So now we're just going to get like an auto animation, basically. Like it's going to do it. What this aspect does is it sort of like takes your project and into like factors your project and then comes up with its own version of the animation based on what you've got going on, that you can use go forward. And I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that this isn't going to crash right here. Uh, did run into a little bit of an issue yesterday with doing magic videos where the upload aspect of it didn't go too well. And it looks like this might be the same thing. Oh, that really sucks. Okay. Think it ended up being the same. Yeah. Okay. Well, that I guess that one's not going to work out. Anyhow, so you can do page animations now, which again I think are really awesome, right? Um, and then you can change the scale of it, right? So you can change the scale of the movement, is what's going on here. Make it really big so it's really noticeable, or less so it's not so much. Um, obviously apply to all pages or just apply to the one. Let me. I don't, guys. I don't use Canva that often, so excuse my, especially when it comes to doing any sort of building presentations. I definitely don't use it that often, so or often enough to be able to understand like why this isn't working. Don't want to do that. Huh. That's weird. I really don't want to have to do that either. Odd. Well, I wish I could tell you why that's not working, but at least you can do the, yeah, you can just play through it. Okay, so you can still do that, and then you can also just add your transitions on top of that, right? So now that transition that like people would normally use, let's say, to try to do one cool aspect, now it actually makes sense because of the fact that you can split up your elements and then you can move them aside, right? So now, like when you do what I would be looking for now is like a flow. I'd be looking for them to do either. Now this one is cool, like match and move. So if you have video that's going on, um, it's really cool because it basically tries to match. Obviously, it moves whatever the image is, or moves either both of them around, or what have you. Moves the elements around to try to match them up visually, so that it's a smoother transition between the two. But what I imagine and see happening is a lot more of, let's say, these three, or maybe even the stack, but the stack's not like anything crazy, but definitely more of this type of stuff uh, where you've got a lot more movement going on. Like this to me is perfect, and you could just basically like copy that to all of them. Uh, in my opinion, I think, oh, okay, yeah, and at least you can change the direction a little bit. Nice, and duration in seconds. So uh, again, like that's how much I use Canva. Is, is that I don't even realize like what else you can do with it. Um, so you've got that, and then you get to this page, let's say, and you do a different animation for this, right? Like I hate to say it, but it's like you just do it on enter, right? Which one did we do here? We did it on enter. Um, and even this, you could do an animation where it's let's see, both on enter and exit, so you don't even need the one that was kind of cool. All right, now let's just do the corporate. So you do it on enter and on exit, so I don't even need the transition to the next one. Come here and I'll do, I don't know, stop. Yeah, that's cool. Do it on both. Let's just do it on enter, and then we'll do another fragmented flow. Let that one go down. Okay, so let's just go back through, right? And so here's your new presentation that you're gonna do. Runway integration isn't out yet, right? Nope, it is. It is. I'll show you. It's not the. I mean, you've used Runway, so you know it's not the sickest thing you've ever seen, right? But it's Runway inside of Canva. So in terms of like this content, right? Let's do that. Like, this is what's awesome about using this stuff and using Canva now. Like, look, I gotta tell you, I hated using Canva before. Absolutely hated it. It was so like I just thought it was shit, right? And that's coming from somebody who was, again, I was using Photoshop and Adobe products and Illustrator and stuff, long before this. So Canva just seemed really dumb to me because there was so much more you could do with better applications. But yes, more expensive applications, stuff like that. Got it. But again, it's just like Midjourney is a paid for thing versus using Dolly and whatnot. But we'll get into the fact that you kind of want to still pay for Midjourney and use that because what you're going to get out of Dolly is pretty good. But you could take that and you could put that into Midjourney as a base and you could make it really awesome, right? But again, we'll get to that in a bit. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it here. I hope so. Okay, so we're going to be able to use Magic Studio here. It's awesome. So boom, we can remove the background if we want to. Please be cool. Please be cool. I did it yesterday. I didn't do it with these elements, right? But okay, so we remove the background, right? So that's gone now. Okay. And instead of doing a photo, I want to put some media behind her, right? And I want it to be, I could do an image if I want to, right? And we can do either like Filmic. If you're doing images, this is powered by Dolly. So it's not, again, it's not going to be amazing, but for generic purpose, for using it for this kind of application, it's amazing for this type of application. Okay, so let's do, I don't want to do images, like you said, check out Runway, we're going to do video. So it does cost you credits, right, with Runway. You get 50 total, so you get one per generation. There's no, again, you're not going to get the same degree of control. You're not going to necessarily be able to, tweak switches and stuff like that, like you could with, excuse me, with Kyber or some of the other applications where you're able to add a little bit more detail in there. It is currently the, as you can see, text to video beta. It shouldn't be beta because I know that Runway's moved on to doing the 15-second versions, I think. So I don't know why it's beta. I think maybe just the way in which it's tied to Canva, I guess, might be something that they're working on. I don't know. At any rate, for a beta feature, it's amazing. And so what you're able to do with this is you're able to do any, the same thing you would with an image, but now you can do it with a video. So let's say a tropical getaway vacation background featuring a beach and clear blue water waves, watching a shore and palm trees on the beach. Okay. Oh, hey, it's out. In terms of being on out on Canva, you mean, or what? Okay, so it's going to do a generation. I've never had it take up to a minute. Like, I mean, you're with me right now. It's going, 30, 40 seconds or so, or whatever. It'll take about 30 or 40 seconds. Definitely never had it take 2 minutes. And I wouldn't say I've done some complicated stuff. I was working on like a sort of music video, which if you've seen people doing Runway stuff, again, you don't have the options here like you do in Runway where you're able to take a source video and apply a style to it and use that. But again, for generative video and generative images, it's really, really good. So what I want to see here is what this is going to look like. So what I was going to try to do was like a music video, right, based on it. Okay, so pretty good video. Okay, it's not exactly like the waves washing ashore. Not exactly the greatest, right? It's not definitely not the most accurate rendition of that you've ever seen. But we're gonna go ahead and we're going to send this backward. Oh, don't know what happened there. You're not found. Oh, that's weird. Okay, maybe I had to do that. Oh, I see. Okay, because it was trying to put it in the image. What I wanted to do is not that. So let's that big. And then we're going to send it backward. What is it? Is it just control? Yeah, okay. Okay, cool, perfect. Now it's behind her, and we'll crop it. Let's see. Oh, can we not? Yeah, never mind. The half was like right there, something like that. Yeah, good enough. It's like an auto crop. Okay, so even though, and the, yeah, so I mean, so even though the clip is like a little bit longer than that, right? Come on, guys. Come on. Like, that's pretty awesome for putting together. That's pretty awesome for putting, like, your next, and like you could replace all of, like, all of the elements in your presentations for doing a presentation for corporate. This is ridiculous for, and like this is $15 a month, I think, right? Yeah, like the I just have the intro level of Canva, and it's like, I can't remember. It's either $12 a month or it's 15 a month, something like that. Um, and I have it just because I never had signed up to Canva, and I actually did sign up to Canva a few months ago, maybe at the beginning of the year, when they had some really interesting tools and some stuff that looked really great. Um, but then it seemed like they were resting on their laurels, and because it was just generative tools and it was just generative image and stuff like that, Midjourney was still better and other tools were still better. And what Canva was offering outside of like templated stuff was, it was pretty good because you had the magic templates based on an image type thing or based on a color, and that kind of stuff was cool. But this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. What's going to be awesome is corporate folks, like round the globe, however you want to put it, they're going to be blown away by how things are going to look now. It's a totally different ball game now. Okay, I said at the beginning of this year that by the end of the year things were going to look very, very different, and they do. Right. So if you walk into your next corporate meeting and you're using, so like that didn't have the outro animation, right? We just did it on one or something. Not that it matters, honestly. Like, but I mean, I just think that I think that it's awesome that you can just do this. I mean, instead of having to do transitions, right? You just click in, boom. You just have like auto transitions, and you can do whatever you want, right? However you want to do it. And so, like, okay, so this is an image, right? And we did the background removal. But what if I wanted like more elements to it? So I like what's going on, okay, with this, but it's just the one image that comes in, and it's like, it's all right, but kind of boring, right? Not exactly the most the coolest of animations. So let's do some more elements from this, right? Magic grab. Oh, oops. So now I've got this and I've got that. What happens now when I play the animation? Okay. Again, first time using this stuff, so that kind of sucks. Supposed to. It is supposed to do what it looks like here. It is supposed to be able to pull the element itself out from the image. Uh, and it should, in fact, do that and actually like replace the background. There we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Whew. Live demos, guys. Live demos. You know how it is. So now we've got this different element. And because we've already broken it up, now we can just go back to the animation itself, right? And now we've got that broken apart piece. You can't tell me that this isn't like cool. I don't even do this kind of stuff. Like, I don't even do this kind of stuff. And it's pretty cool to me. Right. So, um, again, I think it's awesome. I think what's going on, what's happening with this stuff is pretty awesome. Again, being able to do these transitions, really quickly, really easily without actually having to do anything in between. And you could still, if you wanted to, you could do some additional like old school transitions in between, which I still like. I find it interesting that you can do that on top of doing the page animation itself. Let's see. So it did have corporate, but it was, see, yeah, okay. So I guess you can't really layer it unless, let's see. Yeah, so you could do this and you could like increase the length that it takes, right? So that you could still have your, nah, it doesn't layer it on top. I didn't even notice that. My bad. Well, definitely don't do that. Oh, I didn't realize it would delete the whole thing. Huh. These are the things that I find annoying about Canva. Like right now, I would love to just remove this transition. And I'm not seeing the, which should be like super intuitive button for like, oh hey, okay. Because it's the same color as all the others. So it should be either like red or have a cross through it, right? Again, it should be like super intuitive. Canva, if you're listening, or if you're watching rather. So yeah, I think it's really cool. And this is just this is showing off a ton of features, actually, like a handful of features that have come out for this without having to even like go into the individual tools themselves. Okay. So again, being able to knock out the background like that and do that kind of thing, this would be really cool. Let's see how granular the grab it can get. I'm gonna do the edit image. Looks like you can't go too ham with it. Oh, never mind. Okay. Kind of looks like stuff is oh, that's semi interesting. That's more like background. Oh, but did you see what was happening there? Like there was way more to that image. What happened? Did it like do away with it altogether? Wow, it like broke it. Okay, so that's why it's in beta. Well, that question got answered. We kind of broke this. Are those features in beta? No, these are new. So these are like ready to release features, huh? That's super interesting. I can't believe that broke. Crazy. Um, I was just trying to separate out the balloons from the overall image. Let's see if it does it here. What I found interesting was that the original balloon image, I guess, was way like bigger or something than the background that it was on. Like the way that it had processed it was interesting. I did the same thing here. Separated out the is this the foreground? No, it's like bits of the balloon, bits of the balloon in the foreground, but it extended the foreground, which is interesting, at least to me. Huh. All right. Well, um, wow. And then so this is what's funny is like it's doing these odd things. All I did was do an undo, right? And it's doing that. I don't know why it's doing that. So I don't know, fun stuff, I guess, to play around with. Now I wonder if we do it. Okay, all right. Going back to edit photo puts it back to normal, huh? That's odd. Same thing here. No, okay. Like I know you guys are seeing this too. That like sometimes the features are there, sometimes they're not. Do that. Okay, puts it back to normal. Weird. All right. Well, anyway, so that's the um, presentation aspect of stuff. Again, I think that it's a really pretty powerful tool, and I think that it's very, very interesting. I wish I could. Let's see. There's stuff that I can share with you guys, but I can't. I don't know why I'm not able to share my desktop audio. That I should have worked on that this past week. Um, Let me see if I can find a solution for us real quick. Let's see. No, that's if and it's weird because it's like a lot of the times it's platform dependent. It's not necessarily something that's is this for no, that's for Teams meetings, which is good enough actually because it's difficult to share sound. Nope, that's within Teams. Sorry, I really shouldn't be wasting this time doing this, but I want to get into the audio aspects of this because it is so very cool. Seeing like OBS solutions, which sucks. Let's see. Okay, I have done this once before. Stereo mix, and I think that's what it is. I think it's output stereo mix, something like that. Okay. I'm just gonna. No, I guess I have to actually give it sound settings. Very annoying. Very sorry. Definitely don't need to be doing this to you. Let's see. Input device, and I want to see. Problem is, if I change that to stereo mix, you guys won't be able to hear me. I know. And there's supposed to be. I wish there's supposed to be a method for me to do both, and it's like monitoring or setting up a monitoring issue or something like that. Let me see. Because like there's no point in showing you these next two things if I can't do this. Yeah, let's do it that way. Okay, I can. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's see. Let me give it a shot. I wish I keep. Yes, it's funny because I keep looking over to see if Leonard typed the answer yet. Yeah, definitely could do it on Audacity. Okay, I hope this is like legit solved. Yes, that's what I want to use. That's exactly what I want to use. Oh wow, I knew that I had this at some point a long time ago, but that I just didn't have, just haven't actually used it in forever. Now I'm gonna need a guinea pig. So, Leonard, are you still listening? It'd be great if you are. And then we just use voice meter as the output. Okay, that should work. Let's see. Throw that. Okay, just installing voice meter real quick. To sound settings. Sound control panel. Yeah. The install for this thing is Microsoft Yeti and stereo mix. Okay, so this should be good. Can you guys hear me now? Oh, but it also echoes, huh? Well, this kind of sucks. I'm gonna have to listen to myself. Are you ready for the band? Okay, it's interesting. Okay, but at least you guys can hear it. This is awesome. Okay, finally. I've been waiting for be able to do this for. So, I want to turn off. So I was playing around with this a little bit yesterday, and the toy that I want to play with here. No, no. Okay, here we go. So they also partnered with DID, which is very cool, right? If you wanted to do a um, virtual version of yourself that you could use in meetings and stuff like that, that's where you're going to be able to see that, or like you're going to be able to build that out. Now you have to have a DAD account, um, but it's still pretty cool. I don't. I think I've used the credits that I had for mine, and I don't. It's not. It's not something that I use often enough outside of being able to show you guys. So maybe I don't know. Like, yeah, let me see. Let me see what if it's just like if it's like $15, I can just do that. the one time. Oh, I know it's free. Okay. Yeah, right. I already have an account. No, I don't know why you would send me to a guest account immediately. As today is going to go like minimum 2 hours, if not longer, because I still haven't even gotten to the GPT Dolly 3 stuff. Okay, so yeah, I did one of myself a while back. This, yeah, March 19th. Okay. Okay, really not bad for being that long ago. And for me to say like that long ago, that to me is weird in of itself, right? So, um, see what yeah, okay, 0 credits left. Let's see what the, oh my gosh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. 16 minutes video. I don't even need that much. Could do 10 minutes just to play around, but what's the difference here? Ah, the Canva plugin. Yeah, but I couldn't use it. Okay. Gross. All right, let's do that. I'm gonna do this off on another screen so that you know, just don't get my oh. Whoa, guy. This is what I don't like when, let's see. That's what I don't like. If you're a business and you do that, you suck. Okay? Because nobody wants to see this price. Most everybody wants to see this price. And that, by comparison to that, you literally, like, you really pissed me off. Like, I don't, because I want to show people the plugin, but for $30 to show people the plugin. Now, like, you didn't think about that, right? And this is kind of worthless now that the plugin's available to Canva. So sucks that you can't buy credits either. I don't use the API. Pricing structure is nuts. See, and I can't tell if that means that I'm able to use, like, I don't know if that's DID to Canva. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's, yeah, you use it from Canva. So that's what, yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'd have to buy that price just to, that sucks. Paywall sucks. It really does, guys. You really have to think about this stuff. I got to the other page and it was like $200, and I'm like, what? No, I'm not doing it. Sorry. You guys will have to. I don't know. Somebody, Matt Wolf or somebody on YouTube will do it, so don't worry about it. Let's go ahead. I don't have an existing design to apply it to, so don't worry about it. Okay, so what I wanted to show you, and the whole reason I wanted to do the audio thing was to show you that it can actually generate your own voice. So it's not quite the same as 11 Labs, but it's pretty close. Okay, so I think I set up the Number of AI account yesterday. It's weird why it doesn't just like auto log in. It's about to do. Yeah, I did this yesterday. I guess. Yeah, exactly. They really should have put a little bit more time into these features before release, I guess. I don't know. It's Saturday, so maybe people are just bogging the system down really badly anyhow. Okay, so this is going to be the obviously exactly what it sounds like. The tone, timbre, and mannerisms, let's say, that are used with how whichever voice is speaking, right? And then you've got your text that you can use with all this stuff, right? All these different voices that you want. You only have a couple available to you because, again, this is through Murph, so you gotta pay third-party stuff in order to do that. I want to say though, I mean, this aspect of it is really awesome. Oh, you know what? I didn't show you that about the presentation, which I thought was actually amazing. So, go back to this real quick. Also, don't understand in Canva outside. Just there's a lot of stuff that seems like it should be super intuitive, but it isn't. Like that menu should be the right click menu. You should be able to do everything from this. Oh, was that the same case there? It was. I'm just terrible. All right. I think I've like the only thing I've used Canva for in the past was LinkedIn posts, YouTube stuff, like just template. I never used it to this degree, and I don't know. Now that I am, it's pretty baller. Anyway, so Magic Switch, I really this thing is amazing, mainly because of this feature. I think. Now, this is pretty awesome as well for a lot of people that might want to do this kind of thing. I don't know, but it's pretty cool because you can actually change the way you want the doc to be, like the way that it's actually all presented or what have you. You can obviously change the size, warp it, and make it be whatever else you want it to be. You can have it be a whole video as opposed to a presentation. Turn it into print media. Obviously, you're going to use the animations there, but it is. And so, what I like though is, or what I thought was awesome, is the ability to translate to another language. I it blew me away, right? Translate existing design without creating a copy. No, I don't care. Just create a copy. Look how fast it is too. Like, I'm sorry, that's it's awesome to me. It really is. I think this is probably. I mean, it's not like the coolest feature, but it's definitely one of the coolest features available to this. Right. Um, Still have all your transitions. Why did it change it from? Yeah, I mean that's again like that kind of stuff is a little bit priceless, simply because like if you have a multinational company, right now the same presentation in the same deck that you did in whatever the group meeting or maybe a team meeting, like let's say you have a services meeting, but you have services in all of your different bases all over different countries. Now you can do one services deck, push it out in all the various languages. You're done. Right. Like, sorry, but that's awesome. Okay, so let's go back to what we were doing before here. Okay, what I wanted to do was a couple different things. There's also sound raw on top of what we were looking at, which was like the voiceover aspect of it. Sound raw is exactly what it seems like. It's being able to create your own sound. So I've got some that I already made, but what I want to show you guys is like just how cool this is. So you can generate more. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Choose the style. So like epic is kind of what it sounds like. It's going to be like overtly energetic and that kind of thing. But you can go through all these different moods. pick all from all of these genres, all of these themes, and then the length that you need it. So we're just going to do a quick thing. We'll do like 15 seconds, okay? You'll see like as I start to pick different things through here, different options are going to open up, other options are going to go away. Okay, so I'm really, again, recently I'm into this really like Tokyo trap sound, right? You can see that like cinematic's not available for that, right? And it takes away all of these options and moods, but now it puts a lot of them back just because there's a lot of emotion involved in trap music, right? Like whatever. Again, you can use Epic with that, or you can't with Tokyo Night Pop, right? So I want to do up with like, you know what? Let me do Tokyo Night Pop and drum and bass. Yeah. Actually, oh, there we go. And we'll make it epic. And we'll make it, as I say, smooth, dark, elegant. Is even frantic? I haven't tried that one yet. Let's go with it. And then the theme for it, let's see, what do we want to do for a visual theme? Let's do something. Yeah, let's do workout. Tech workout. No, just workout. Well, that'll be a pretty hardcore sound, I think. So now it's going to generate all our sounds, right? And then it tells you like which aspect it, like what dominant aspect there is, right? So this is the hip hop dominant, trap dominant. It's a nice combination between the two. Obviously, we still haven't had that. No, we did. We just did trap hip hop. And let's hear what some of this is like. And this is not quite trap, but here's what's cool. So in the like demos that you've done, you can also like alter like the intensity of it, which is, trust me, it's awesome. I'll show you a not full song. So actually, let me do this. Oh yeah, so Tokyo Night Pop was in there. All right, let me do Trap Tokyo Night Pop 2 minutes. Okay, actually, we'll just do like 1 minute, just because I want to show you like the how the progression works, and it's really some of them are really great. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so we're gonna go quiet mode, let's make this one chill, and then you can move from here. And you can change it like while you're listening to it as well. So, oh man, are you guys not hearing? Oh man, are you serious this whole time? Huh. Why was this working before? Now it's not working. Oh, I don't understand why this is so frustrating. The only thing I, the only reason I did this was to show you guys like how this is working. see. So, God, it sounds so weird on my end. Um, testing, testing. What's weird is it can't. Okay. God, this is such a nightmare. I can't believe, like, this. I can't believe this. He built a kitty on tu saleta, and the kids don't. I'm like going back to testing. I don't get it. I don't understand why my working again now. Okay, I don't know if this works though. It's like I didn't learn my lesson the first time or something. Don't. Is this better? I I wish I knew more about how this stuff works. I I wish I knew more about how this stuff works. I should pay more attention. I I wish I knew more about how this stuff works. Okay. Output should be working now. Okay. Output should be working now. It is. Okay, here's sound output. Okay. No better. And the heads get did it. It is. Okay, here's sound output. Okay. Okay. Now, can you hear what's coming off of my monitor? I can't even hear it. That's so awesome. Don't worry about it. No, like, see that volume mixer's on. Uh, Unless it only knows that. That doesn't make any sense. Settings. God, all of this screwing around for nothing. What? Forget about it. Forget about it. Anyway, just believe me that this aspect of it is awesome, and the AI voice aspect of it is awesome. Eventually I created one myself to use for it. So um, I know that that aspect works really well. I know that the audio aspect works really well also. So I'll just post something to show that. I really hate doing that. I don't know. Maybe which I didn't do, and I should. I keep forgetting to do that to actually locally record this. Anyway, all right. So Dolly for GPT. Um, it's pretty awesome, and you can do some pretty awesome stuff with it. Again, I'm not going to compare it. Like Canva's got the same thing, so there's no point in me showing you the Canva version of it because it is the exact same tool. In the sense that it's also using Dolly, so there's nothing happening within Canva that you can't do within GPT, like in terms of Dolly, right? Uh, so, or in terms of image generating. So let's see. Let's just start out with something pretty. This is what's cool, I guess. Like, so this is the big difference between using a language model to generate an image versus using Midjourney, right? So let's start out with GPT. A graphic image of a room meeting. Rise. Scrolling. It's large. Work. City. Okay. So we'll start out with that. And it's almost like you almost have to think about it as like we'll use that as clay, the initial mold or like pile of clay. So Dolly does the same thing that Midjourney does. If you never use Midjourney, this is pretty much how the generation works. It's that it almost always tries to do 4 different generations for you, so that you have a I don't know what you want to call it. Photorealistic. It's not a photo. Okay. So here's the difference. Let's just copy the prompt. I come over to Discord. So we're going to go over to Midjourney. And then I also want to use, well, somebody else have one that has a, oh yeah, they know it's my birthday. Um, Somebody else has one too. The Bard, I think, uses a different engine, I want to say. Okay, so let's go with, so we're going to go with specifically this one. Okay. It's pretty good, honestly. Like all the concepts are there. Okay, like the very basic aspects of it are there. So now we're going to go over to Midjourney. See you later, man. Generic images. Imagine. And not going to do anything else. Whoops. Okay, let's, except for, have to reset this back to its alt settings. I'm not even going to use raw mode. Don't want Yeah, I don't care. I use Midjourney very like a lot less than I used to, so I can actually burn turbo mode, and that's pretty nice. We're gonna leave stylize medium, right? So it gets rid of that. If you're wondering how I did this, the AR preset aspect, you can always do prefix for suffix. That's it. Okay, so then we can do AR. I want to do 16 by 9 because that's what it did. Oh no, never mind. It did. Is this 101? Yes. I want to do. And I want to use. It's gonna default use 5.2. Anyhow, that's how you can reset or you can set it up, right? So now the suffix is always going to be that. The only thing is, I don't actually remember this aspect. So it should still leave it as 5.2. Sometimes it'll say 5.2. Anyway. Okay, so with Midjourney, it's not a language processor, so there's no like, hey, I gotta say hi to you and be nice and all that kind of thing. This is a straight up tool. Okay, still learning how to create images, so it can't help you with that. So sucks. I thought Bard had image generation. Ooh. Freaking chat. I don't think so. Can I? Try hugging chat in a second. I don't know why it always forgets. Is oh man, they definitely started putting that 4 billion to use. My gosh, this has changed quite a bit. So now we have like really starting to get some really like productized stuff on the voice settings. Like, don't know if you guys could hear that, but that's the only thing I find like odd. Sure, looks like. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's very cool. Nice. Share the length of the conversation. That's very cool. All right. So let's see. Not yet. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so here's what we got from Midjourney. Not quite like yeah. It's you have to actually break these apart. So see them in the same way. That is a significant drawback for like Midjourney versus Dolly. You can actually go between your sets here, right? Within, so it actually builds them differently or separately. It does it like this, as opposed to doing it as a 4-up. But personally, I prefer the 4-up. At any rate, so it's a little bit. I mean, come on, by comparison, you can tell like this is an illustration. Looks like an illustration. Very much do. Now, and again, the objective was to get a photo. So this is definitely not a photo. I'm just gonna go ahead. Apparently as well. So we're really just doing Midjourney versus GPT at this point, Dolly. This definitely has more photographic element to it. Like it's not, it isn't, but it's closer. But you can see where it starts getting into like a painting style in the background. It has like a rendered illustration version or illustration feel to it. Same thing here. It's a bit closer though, a bit closer to a photo. Kind of the closest one yet. Okay, and then the other thing to take into account is what I always look at anyway is like the little details, tiny things that are going to actually differentiate it from being considered a real image. Even when it comes to the reflections of the chairs, reflections of the people who are sitting in the chairs, arms of the chair show up in the same spot. Hands at that distance obviously got garbled up, unless that's something weird that guy's holding. Look too bad here. Okay, anyway, so the reason I do that is to compare to here. Here you can see like her forearms are unnaturally long. This looks all right. Same thing with the chair legs. Let's see what's going on here. Shadows line up pretty good. But then you get these like extra elements. Singular line here. I'm not sure what that's for. It doesn't go all the way down. The interesting thing, if you're not part of the prompt practitioners, I suggest that you do become a part of that. Victor is amazing at just running the community in general, but also in terms of his knowledge and background knowledge of GPT and AI news and what's going on. But on top of that, we recently had like a challenge. Victor posted this challenge of like, hey, try to figure out which image is photo and which one is the AI generated. Pretty good. It was a really good competition. But the only thing that made it easy for me was the detail. Was just looking to see tiny details, right? So like, if this is part of the window, it should go all the way down. If it's not, it kind of looks like it could be like the rope to like a window cleaning rig or something like that. But then where's the rig, right? So like that would kind of work, but it doesn't. Anyway, these are pretty close. This one's much, much better in terms of the background. Something kind of weird going on with the hands there. In general, the hands look all right. The bodies look okay too. Oh, everything's. Oh, there we go. That's a problem. Shadows going in the wrong direction. It's not like it's that the arm is or whatever the leg is going this far out. It should be somewhere around here. Like this should bow here because there's that arm there. So it should be like there should be a. It shouldn't go straight out. It should bend a little bit so you can see the shadow of this arm. No, not picky. Devil's in the details. Anyway, pretty good. Okay, now here's where we start to get a little bit separated. So let's go with let's see. So this is what I find really cool about Dall. That I mean, you can kind of do this with Midjourney, but not really. So we're gonna do photo of an executive. Okay. Oops. Added some new bots to Discord lately to play around with stuff. Okay. There's a normal state of the art. Keep Midjourney doing the processing things the same way that it does. We're gonna go with this one. And what I'm gonna do. Come on, buddy. Oh, I must have to. All that does is when I go to my Midjourney gallery, it I can't do it as easily on here. I don't know what the command is. There's not a mouse over way of doing this. Scored. Oh. Okay, well, what I want to do is add a, hold on, I have to do this manually. What I'm trying to do is grab the seed number for this image because we're in GPT, I won't have to do that because it's like I'm just telling it to use the same image and then change something about it. So you're going to see something kind of cool. Images. That's weird. Oh, that's so weird. Yeah, look, it all disappeared. That's so weird. Okay, let's see if there's a reflection from the desktop version. I'm not sure why that it's weird like that. Okay. First, let's I'm going to change the aspect ratio. Oops. We'll get our generic first. Unfortunately, we're going to have to redo it. So basically, I'm using Midjourney on Discord, but I'm doing it off screen because there's other options that I need to do with it. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one of these. And we've got a good corner. This is great because it's a good challenge of this. Like it's a, you know what? Since he's going to hear at least my. For whatever reason, I guess you guys can hear me. Yes. Oh, that's weird that it sounds so terrible. Garbled thing on. Wow. I'm terribly sorry about I don't know if that sounds any better. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Maybe, maybe. Gosh, look at this. back to stuff not working, I guess. No, okay. Let's see. Finally back to normal. Seems like it. Okay. I am terribly sorry about this. All right. At least I don't have to listen to myself at this point. So we've got this boardroom image. We're comparing it to this image. Okay, awesome. Except for the clown is not the only one holding those torches. But okay, so here's what I wanted to do, and the reason I wanted to use this. Wow, I don't know what is happening in Discord with me using Midjourney. It's like it's broken or something. This is so weird. I don't know why this is happening at all. It's really starting to just become upsetting. Let me see. Why? Like, I don't know why a channel that I created yesterday for generic images. I'm not sure why it's not working properly. There's nothing different about it versus any other channel. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Generations, nope, nothing wrong with it. Oh well. Oh wow, somehow. There's something really weird going on. There must be, I guess maybe from the audio driver issue. Yeah, it's doing it all over the place. Great. I don't know what's going on. And I'm only able to, like, one of the things that you need to be able to do on Midjourney images in order to save them is you need to be able to get to their seed. But unfortunately, I can't do that. I'm supposed to be able, like, it's a very easy thing to be able to do. And I don't know why this isn't showing up the same everywhere. This is I don't know. I don't know. This is by far the worst episode, I gotta say. So many issues here. So many issues. Okay, let's just try doing it through the chatbot. If it's going to be that much of a huge issue, let's just do it here. As you can see, here I'm able to actually mouse over and give a reaction. That's quite literally all I'm looking to do. Still able to do it here. It's absolutely necessary to be able to do this. I'll show you why. See, I don't know. Don't ask me, guys. Like I'll figure it out offline and then laugh about it next time. I'm not sure why you would want to. Oh, okay, uplighting, but I'm not sure why you would want to have that mirror. At any rate, let's just go with what we've got here. Okay, so we've got the image we want to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it a letter. And that's going to give me the seed for this image. So now anytime I create this image, so long as I put this seed in there, I'm good. And so this is why you want to prefer suffix and say AR, oops, 1 and seed, whatever that number is. And so now for, forever while we're generating in here, it's always going to use this as the reference image to whatever we create. So now I want to say the same thing, right? Whoops. I want to say the same thing here, but what did we do for this one? I'm going to add a clown in the background juggling torches. Okay. Clown juggling torches. Okay. Now I'm also not going like crazy over the top with the Midjourney version. that's part of like what I kind of wanted to do in terms of showing like why there's a huge difference between the Dall version of what you're doing and the Midjourney version. So let's take a look at the Dall image. It's pretty cool, except for the fact that people sitting at the table are also juggling torches, right? And then it also somehow took like, the fire aspect of what's going on with the torches and sort of applied that to the rest of the city street. Oh, you know what? We didn't pick a singular image to go with here. Let's go with number 2. Blow up image number 2 from the original set of images. Let's go back to Midjourney and see if we got anything. No, we did not. Oh, that's why that's not going to. Yeah, it's taking that as the reference, but it still didn't add the clown in the background at all. Boy, that's disappointing. Okay, so here's number 2, which it's not. So you can see like, even though we're doing like a natural language form of image generation, you can see for yourself like how, quote, well it's working, right? What I wanted was this image, and what it gave me was this, which is not really close, right? I mean, it's kind of, I guess. I mean, I like this. I like this a lot better because it's cleaner. But this is definitely not an enlarged version of this. Okay. So we're gonna stick with this anyway, right? Let's see if you need for blah blah blah. Can guide you through relevant studies or resources. No, that's quite all right. Clown in the far corner. Standing windows, juggling torches for the members of the meeting. So that's what's nice about it, is that like I'm able to do a request like that. So we're gonna blow that one up. We're gonna let's see. What I want to do is very strong. And I'm gonna try seeding the image correctly. No, that's the style. Okay. Let's seed 01. And we're going to change the language here. Okay, it's adorned with state-of-the-art tech equipment, plush seating, diverse group of professionals, executive board meeting. So here's what I'm going to do here in Midjourney. Change all the periods to commas. So we can say that it's a continued thought. Okay. Change photo to photograph. Yeah, we'll go with that. So seating the individual, I'm not quite sure why that didn't work as the suffix to apply it here. I don't know why it created like completely different renders. This one's not completely different really. And they have the same elements where it's showing part of the ceiling, the corner view of the exterior, the large tall buildings, and the same rectangular table, with the exception of that one where it came out circular. So even in this case, right, not quite sure why it's going like way off plan, let's say. Either way, again, no clown in the corner, right? It's really odd that we can't get that. So there's that's like plus points to GPT. And now you can see that we're definitely getting two different things that are going on here. One, some really nice effects with the fire, like with the reflection of the fire in the window. Okay, so like some automatic stuff there. That's like the only mistake quote in the image is that like there's fire at his hand, let's say. But what's interesting to me is also like what it's done, right? Everybody's looking at each other during the meeting, just like they should normally. Makes sense, right? Now they are all looking at least in the direction of the entertainer, the clown, right? Given the description, right? So normally, like that tends to be a sticking point in Midjourney. That's cool. For the shape of this building, like the AI and architecture stuff is going to be so awesome. We're going to see so many cool buildings that we never would have thought were even possible, just because of the fact that AI is going to show us how we can put these things together with the materials that we have. At any rate, so okay, let's force the clown into the scene. How am I going to do this? I'm going to do it by grab this. Actually, I'm just going to do a very subtle. That's probably why I did that, by the way, is just because I did very strong as opposed to very subtle. 1. Okay, and so we're going to do that. I'm going to give that a little bit of a stronger weight. And replace all the periods in here. Could actually separate the statement. That too. Okay, so we're separating those out. And good. Now the clown's definitely going to be there. I don't know how nice it's going to look, but he's definitely going to be there. I know I'm going over time, and I almost don't care because I cheated you guys so badly. So when I do the video highlights of this episode in particular, it'll be highlights of like the stuff that you guys want to see, let's say. Okay, so now we're kind of getting it, but it's taking like the aspects of a clown and really going nuts with it. This is sort of close to what we're trying to go for, but not really. So we're gonna recycle it. Notice that we lost the table even with the seed. So we're gonna recycle it anyway, and we're gonna say we're just gonna separate the ideas. We'll see how the separation works by itself. What we're also going to do is we're going to keep the clown there. We'll do the separation, and we're going to add some style to it. We're going to add style of like 500. Getting close. This is really interesting. But see, it's also changing the people that are in the boardroom. Okay, so not bad, right? Let's see. Now it's getting way offhand, right? Way out of hand, and like definitely, I mean, it's changing everything that is supposed to be a part of what's going on here. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's see. Let's see if I can do it this way. Copy message link. Whoops. Not that. I want to copy image address. Let's see. That's kind of what I like about Midjourney, is that there's like 1,000 ways to skin the cat. All right, so now that we've got the clown doing that, let's do city a dystopian future style. We all know what it's like. Future style similar to that of. Now watch what happens here. Watch what happens with the guardrails. Okay. Let's see if it actually does this. I forgot to add the question mark. It knows what's up. Okay. Again, getting closer, but you know, we're losing a lot of what's going on, like what we wanted. This is pretty close, except for, you know, dude's head's on fire, so it's not exactly it's not exactly, it's almost like what happened after the clown dropped the torches, maybe. This is obviously going all over the place. You know, so let's try stands in the corner. Shoveling torches for the board members. That's using that original image. Let's try to go with 0, 1. Oops. Okay, so now we've done the dystopian future. I'm just, you know, it's awesome that it actually did that. Because I've had it come back and tell me that like things that I was doing were violating terms of service, which I kind of liked. So if I had said in the style of, let's say, Ridley Scott, or in the style of a famous artist, it would have actually errored out and come back and said, sorry, I can't do that because it violates terms of service, which I think is pretty good. In terms of the whole like keeping people from copying other people's styles artistically and all that kind of thing, that's about as close as it's going to get, right? Once again, like you know, this is why Midjourney is tougher, quote, to work with than Dall. So trying to mix the images together and all that kind of stuff is not really working too well. So in other words, the image, the prompt itself is what's weak in my opinion here. So let's go with a let's say 35. Let's say I don't even know. Just go with the Nikon digital photograph. Order meaning. Wait, let's describe the setting. $20.49. Order meaning. Being entertained by a clown. Juggling torches. Let's just go with that. Order meeting. Let's see. Sure. Oh, it's using that C because we did the prefix thing. Forgot about that. Suffix, rather. We don't even need to adjust anything. Just remove it altogether. Still missing. Like, it's clowns. It's not, you know, it's not quite, it's not a singular, not quite sure why it's, I guess because it thinks that it's a boardroom meeting of clowns, even though, let's see. Corporate leaders. And by clown. Now this is definitely a longer prompt than I would normally go with. And I want to do two different things with this while I'm at it. I want to grab the level of style. Well, let me let that render first. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to go back and clean a lot of this up. Just delete this all together. Okay. Something tells me if I were to refresh my screen, all of this stuff would disappear almost magically. This right click that I'm doing, that's what I was looking for earlier when I was like, oh, I can't even find the letter to be able to pull the seed. I mean, the concept is just all over the place. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this, and I'll say dystopian future room. 2049. Corporate board meeting. Of, I don't know. Large windows overlooking the city. I'm so obsessed with making this work. Let's bring the style down a lot. And I think that was all I wanted to do. Something like that. Let's go back over to GPT. So this is pretty good. This is what I like though, is that I'm able to like talk out the problem with the image with Dall, as opposed to continually getting something that like I just have to keep working with this thing, right? City. Juggling torches. Like, I don't even know why that's such a difficult concept for this to execute on. Really shouldn't be. You know what? And I want to, this is what I wanted to do before. I wanted to change the style. I'm not sure that that's actually going to help. It should. I want to get rid of that, but I actually kind of like what's going on there. Oh, I mean, when I say change style, I mean change the style of 5.2, the way that it's rendering. I want to go with raw mode because it kind of accepts longer prompts in that method. it's just, it is absolutely not working out with this. I really don't get it. It should flag raw after that. There we go. Okay, so didn't change him to be a clown. Definitely changed the style of the entire office room, right? Also, still kind of spilled fire off to the side there. Um, I mean, you could, like, if the objective was for him to be a magician, then that works, right? Works really well. Let's see what we did in Midjourney. Still not going very well. So it almost, in terms of, okay, like which one's easier to work with. But watch, let me see if I can sort of cheat something here. So go to plugins. Yeah, we'll keep that on. The day that they actually, I can't wait until you can use like 4 or 5 plugins. It'd be amazing. A clown. Boardroom is full of leadership. Room has large glass windows that overlook a dystopian mega city with towering buildings and a Blade Runner 2049 style. Visual style? Yeah. That includes the camera detail, camera settings. Okay. So can go like another way around. Like I said, 1,000 ways to skin the cat. Authorization. What? Oh, is it not work? Is that not? Is this plugin broken again? I swear. It's okay. We've got another. Where's photo reel? Somewhere here. Did I remove it? Nope, there it is. Should work. Cool. All right. So in case you didn't know, again, reason why you should have a Plus membership. Gives you the ability to do. Now this isn't exactly, yeah, so there you go. Gives you the ability to do prompts for different image engines. Now I'm not entirely sure why it's doing it this way, because that's definitely not the typical way Midjourney prompts are written, but maybe something's changed. This would be amazing if like that's the way that it works now. Not even joking. Simply because of the fact that you can like super define what it is you're doing there, if that's the way that it works. It's very close. He wasn't standing in the middle of the table there. Yeah, I tell you, way closer than anything we've got so far. Let's try it again. And what I really want to do is tear off all of that, only because we've got it in, let's see, didn't we? I thought that was already, no, it was just that it was a digital medium. Okay. Normally, the use of like camera details will get you the like photorealism that you're after. this is an odd instance where that wasn't the case. Let's go with that. Style raw is fine. Actually, let's just leave off style raw for this one. Let's go without content and just do it that way. And we're going to set the style to 100. And then what I like to do is basically run between all of them. So I'll do like style 100, I'll do like style 300, style 500, and like see which one hits closer to the mark. Okay, back over to the board movement. So like realistically, I mean, again, it's not, let me see. I'm testing two things here. One, I want to see if it can actually change him into a clown as opposed to just being a person in a suit. And then two, I want to see if it knows who I'm talking about. Does it know I'm talking about this guy? Okay, so lower stylization number. I mean, this doesn't look like a boardroom. This definitely looks like, I don't know. This is closer to a boardroom, but it looks as though the clown is making the city explode outside. So I'm not really sure, and they're definitely not juggling torches, right? Juggling fire torches, right? Okay. So again, let's try that at, did it not accept? Oh, it's default style 100. Okay. Let's try style 250. Do another one that's 500. And we'll do one more that's like 800. There we go. Now we are losing like bits of the background while we're doing this. The table's a little bit better than the steps. When I think about it though, I don't know why you would have steps like that in the boardroom, right? But this actually fits, even though the content on top of it doesn't. But you could take this into like Photoshop and do some like some pretty easy stuff. So I'm gonna actually do that too while we're at it. Let me change my screen share so that it's everything as opposed to just the one window. Okay. So we have Photoshop fired up. And let's come back over to Discord. I mean, it's looking really nice now. So like the level of realism that you're gonna get out of Midjourney, obviously, like, I mean, it looks really sick. It's just that it's obviously not the content. Okay, now that's at 800, so it's like way over stylized. At 250, again, we're getting like some. Oh, that's nuts! If he did the trick and it lit everybody on fire, that's crazy. I don't know. It's having a real issue with the whole juggling torches thing, like juggling fire torches. I don't know why. Let's stick to the original. Colorful attire, juggling torches. Let's just go with juggling torches. Corporate boardroom film. Yeah, let's just go with that. We're going to lower the style setting to be the default, because at the default we got pretty close to what we wanted, right? It was just a matter of what was being delivered here is not quite what we wanted. And even here we're having like a very massive proportion issue. So about the closest we can get from early renders is that. This one's interesting, even though he's blowing up the city. that's the newest one. Okay. These were cool just because of the, again, like the look of them, the depth of field in there, the look of this fire is really amazing. But not what we're going for. Not what we're going for. Even though like there's some fun stuff there. Still waiting to see what's going on with that. Okay, so here's the redo. Once again, he's not juggling torches. I don't know what's up with that. I really don't. But this is pretty cool. This one is if I had to say like clown in the room, you know, entertaining the board members. Not bad. And you can see that people are looking at him and paying attention to him. Now, this is a real person as opposed to like a clown dressed up. You could tell he's wearing a suit. It's not like a clown outfit. It has just like a weird ass hat on and his hands backwards, right? Like I can tell from here the hands backwards. Teeny tiny hands. I'm not sure what the hell is going on there. His face is obviously very, very deformed, but that kind of lends itself to him being a clown, except for the fact that his proportions are extremely way off from everybody else, as well as this dude's hand. Like the overall image doesn't work for me. It's joke. It's like a jokey joke thing if you wanted to use it in, you know, as a quick shot for something. I don't know why you would, because it's got a lot of mistakes everywhere. And then we've got this one, which actually came out pretty decently. This guy's rocking the horns over here. Looks like there's, I don't know what's going on around there. Again, the table's on fire. It's not exactly what we wanted at all. At least there's fireworks in the background, and everything else aside, even though he's kind of wearing a suit, he's definitely a clown. So like this really is like the closest one. Let's see if we can do just strong variation with no additional direction. So we really did get what we wanted out of this one. So what I wanted to do is go into Photoshop, and if you haven't played around with it yet, I gotta tell you, like they've already implemented a lot of the tools that I didn't think that they were going to implement just yet. So we're going to downloads, grab that, bring this stuff over, and right off the bat, right? So like you're looking at this, and it's just like, oh man, like you know, this is pretty good, but the fire, if it wasn't for the fire, right? So we've got removal tool now. It's a brand new feature in Photoshop. It was in beta, it's now in live. So bye bye fire. Okay, that's very different. If you've ever used the tools that do like that do blending and stuff, it's really like this is insanely better. Let's just say. I don't know if that, yep, need this version. No, what I wanted actually was that version. Yeah, if you guys have ever seen that kind of thing before, which I'm sure you have. Kind of needs this. Yeah, you get the point is that you can definitely do, let's say this selection, distort. That's good enough. I know this is really not part of what I should be doing to show you guys stuff, but let's harden that up. Okay, and bring it over a little bit. Bring it down and fade it out. And can we switch it around? Okay, just enough, I think. Got a little bit fuzzier. It's not quite as harsh. And all of a sudden the fire's off the shelf. Okay. So you can do a lot with this. That's pretty cool, in my opinion. I love the environmental lighting that's created from it as well, and it's like clearly from the subject. It's not like there's not fire behind these people. There's not weird lighting behind them. It's only in front of them from the direction it's coming from. This is the only time it would have made logical sense if that dude's head was on fire because he's so close. Now, it's not exactly a person's face going on there, but it is some sort of something, so it'll work. Detail-wise, there's a little mash going on there, a bit of mash going on. Definitely some mash going on here, but it's not the end of the world. Not quite sure what's going on with that dude's neck, but again, from quick glance, which you're going to see it at this, let's say, resolution, so you're really not going to notice it anywhere near as much as I'm like trying to make it out to be, right? I think it's pretty good by comparison, right? Midjourney just comes up with some awesome stuff though. I don't know why you would want to use that. It just that looks kind of cool, but the dude's head's on fire. Okay. Again, I'm still not understanding why the table's on fire every single time. I wish it weren't, but yeah, definitely not the output I was looking for. Hands are completely jacked up, but that's your basic difference between the two. And what I find like really awesome again about using Dall through GPT and why I think it's like so powerful is this reason right here. Let's remove the clown and fire all together. Replace it with an elephant that's crammed into the corner of the room. Okay, and to do this with, again, to do this with Midjourney, so why I like Dall doing this, and I'll show you where some real differences come into play. Okay, so the reason that like Dall is so much better at doing this than Midjourney is pretty much trained on very, very realistic scenarios. It's not like images and stuff. It's not trained on surrealistic images. So it doesn't understand surrealism anywhere near as well, right? Okay, so it took out the clown, put in the elephant, but not quite, right? It's definitely having an issue cramming that elephant in there. The elephant be in the room with board members. And then, so let's see. Yeah, I'll use the next 15. What I want to do is like a real life comparison. Okay, so let's do please create an image. Olympic that is a sports I can't spell. I really can't spell. During a race, the happen and have out of the water. That's a tight shot sports photograph. Okay. So this is much better, right? And again, all the board members are paying attention to the elephant, which makes absolutely perfect sense. Um, if I remove the elephant from the room, I think it'll go back to being them staring at each other at the desk or at the table. But doesn't matter. What's awesome to me, not sure why I went for a. Oh yeah, never mind. This is cool. I don't think anybody. I mean, with the, I would actually like it because it's almost artistic in a sense, but it would be the most awesome conversational piece if your ceiling lighting were like that, right? Where it's not a set grid-like pattern; it's just almost an art, almost a modern art expression. Anyway, elephant in the room, right? So that's very easy for Dolly. I'm not entirely sure why. That couldn't tell you. Maybe it's just trunk's not the greatest, but maybe it's that it understands how to superimpose things really well. Don't know, but I'll look into it a little bit just so just so I have a better understanding of it. So going back, let's see. Okay, so here is where you're going to see some like major difference. That kind of happens in Midjourney too, so I'm not going to fault it. So like camera being half in and half out of the water isn't exactly, let's see. Whoops, sorry. Just above the water. Turn to get a breath. Okay, so that's what I'm going for there, right? Now, what I'm going to do is open up a duplicate and go over to my photo reel. Come on, load it all up. Lower boardroom. Picks a Olympic swimmer. Okay, so we're gonna have that go. Yeah, not quite, it's really not quite what we're looking for. This isn't too bad, but like, look at how over exaggerated the muscular system is, right? And then obviously this is weird. It's trying to, I understand kind of what it's trying to do here. It's trying to get that weird, like, sort of warping effect that happens. The body is almost completely underwater. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but it's not like I was expecting more of this, where it's a little bit half in, half out. These look like biking shorts. They don't quite look like swimmer shorts. And again, the physique is a bit exaggerated, right? So it may be really good at doing, let's see. You know what? Let me just copy. I wonder what happens if we do this. Let's try these guidelines. So let's see what it does with that. And then I want to go back over to Midjourney and do the same. Okay. And what I want to do is AR 16 by 9. Because it's like a, it is that, right? I don't know if this is gonna go 16 by 9. It should, but we'll see. How many are you gonna get? This is actually, I mean, it's going pretty fast considering, because I figured that people were just gonna be jamming this thing full of requests and it was gonna be like very difficult to use. Okay, so there's an expression on the face. I don't necessarily care for the expression, but I'm guessing that's coming from something. Full race mode, head emerging from the water, and just above the thing. Swimmer's face and the dynamic water splashes. Let's see. Just above water level, capturing the swimmer's intense focus. Water droplets. Let's see. Let's go with that. Actually. Not bad. Now it's getting better. It's kind of weird that we had to use like a Midjourney style prompt to get that result. Almost there. Okay. But here's what I wanted to point out mainly. And this is, it's difficult to tell in or out of water. This is much easier. Look at the realism that's going on there. The face and like this aspect of it, not so much. Like as soon as it gets to this lower portion of his face, not so much. This is very like unrealistic. It looks sort of cartoonish. And it looks like his face is coming out of the water as opposed to going into it. Like the splash looks really weird. This almost looks like a superhero that's going to punch somebody. Um, and then the forehead looks overtly exaggerated, right? The jaw is really not so great. But just the look, the way the water is on the skin, the way the shadows are on the hair. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Let's do. Let's see, in the midst of a race. That's why swimmer. In the midst of a. Just do an Olympic swimmer. Olympic swimmer captured the precise moment they turn their head for breath. We'll just go with that. Okay. And I want to get everything up to there. I want to make it a fair, oops. I want to make it fair. I don't want to make it unfair, but I'm not going to lie. This is really, really good. It's really good. You can tell that he's actually coming up for air. Okay. This is also really good. The look of it is pretty good. And it's kind of what I imagine the breaststroke would look like from underneath, from the water like splashing overhead or whatever. Back over to Midjourney. Still like I'm still getting like a facial expression for some reason. Swimmer's cap, swimsuit, natural skin tones. Action shots. There we go. Let's see. Let's just go there. Because the motion in and of itself should be capturing that. That's pretty cool. And that's pretty cool. But again, so what I'm trying to compare here, just for understanding what it is I'm doing between the two, I'm trying to compare the level of realism between the two. You can see that Dall is just, it's almost like that level of, that's because it's taking like aspects of the prompt and it's inputting them now. It's like it's exaggerating by the degree you would think it would. I know that doesn't make much sense. Okay. Now this isn't exactly what I was going to do because it's really just explaining like a precise moment they turn their head to take a breath. Like this isn't like necessarily capturing exactly what I would want it to. I could almost really just steal this. Oddly enough, and then just say okay. That would work, and also doing this. All right. So these are much better. I'm not sure why there's this like weird. They usually have like tiny goggles, so I'm not really sure what that's all about. It's also a little bit strange. I'm not sure why. Maybe because there's too much mention of like lenses or something. So we can do that. Take that out. Well, actually, I'll just take out that altogether. I mean, that's fine. Just gonna make it generic. Don't need parameters in there. And end it there. Okay, let's see if we can do it that way. Let's get rid of that. We'll get rid of all these other ones that are just kind of useless a little bit. I do like it, and I do like the angle of it and everything like that, and the drama that goes on with the face there. I don't know why it's doing the I do like, like that shot is pretty cool. I don't know why it's doing the goggles. I mean, I know they wear goggles when they swim, but like the heads and stuff, like it's really weird. Try raw mode off. Maybe that's screwing with us. Yeah, we went over the 3-hour mark. What do you know? It's my birthday, guys. I'm going nuts with it. Let's do this last one, and then I'll let you guys go. I'm gonna cut this up so it's got all the. There we go. That's one that I was looking for. Boom. Perfect. Can even do 3. These are perfect. So to get some of that extra setting crap out of there. Okay, that right. Which about the only weird part of it is that, which you just saw in Photoshop, I could get rid of in seconds. Look at the realism of the camera being close to the water, right? Versus this, it's kind of like over the top. Again, let's take the exact same prompt because I don't want to cheat, right? And we'll go aspect ratio of 16:9. Okay. So we'll see what it can come up with. But I mean, the level of realism there is unbelievable. Okay. It's really, really unbelievable. There's, again, there's the shadow of whatever goggles that is, and you could easily fix this here. That's not a big deal. The hair being wet like that, I don't know. Like that's a bit unrealistic given the setting. But even this image is really pretty good. Really like this stuff. That's really strong. Here she comes. What? Oh. Okay, we'll try it again. Just keep going until you can. Let's see what Canva can do with it while we're at it. And I want to see what it would look like in several different places, just so you guys have like an understanding. Go to Magic Studio, and where is it? There's Magic more. Like there's so many different little toys in here that are buried in the pay aspect of it. Am I in? Okay, cool. Boom. Let's go to, where is it? Nope, not magic switch. Down here, magic media. Boom. Okay, we're doing this in a photo style, and we're doing it landscape. Create the image, and we'll come over to Firefly. Looks terrible. Oh. Game-changing tools. I wonder who wrote that. I'll look at it later and I'll let you guys know what's up. Image generation. If you guys haven't used Leonardo before, it's pretty sharp. I'm not gonna lie. Very, very sharp. Dream Shaper, Absolute Reality 1.6, Dynamic, Photography. Shouldn't really need to add anything additional. Let's do it. That's okay, don't worry. What? Oh, I see. Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. This is where the limitations come into play. I wonder if that's probably why it's not working on, yep, that's why it's not working here either. So let's do it this way and then remove those. I'll just say digital camera. No. Yeah, shot with the digital camera. Okay. Come back over to Canva, see if it choked on it. Nope. Okay. So we've got like a couple. Take a look at what Canva came up with. It at least took the mid-breath thing pretty seriously, but you know, it's all right. It's really not that great. Just try and be honest. It's not that great. It looks like he's swimming in milk, right? It's kind of weird because again, this is Canva. Canva's using Dall, and so does let's actually grab from the top here. Canva uses Dall, but so does GPT. So it's a little weird that that it is so very different. Let's say that's pretty cool. All right, because we like with that what is that, brushstroke or whatever. You know what that looks like. It's pretty good. And the goggles are really close and the cap is really close. There's some weird stuff going on here, right? And the way that the cap is coming around his hair and stuff, like that usually comes all the way back. But it's whatever. The musculature looks all right. The hands are not acceptable, really. I guess, I mean, like, they could pass. There's something weird going on here, right? That's why I say they could pass. You'd have to do a lot of Photoshop work in here. You know, there's some weird lighting going on there. Very odd lighting going on here. That almost looks like he's staring up at the sky. It does not look like he's staring down at the pool. Like the reflection that's in the goggle. Otherwise, it's all right. These are less, I would rather use this than these. I mean, come on, guys. That's pretty phenomenal. It looks fairly fake. So I take that back. It's not phenomenal. It looks all right. It's fairly fake. Like there's a lot going on here. You'd have to put like negative prompts in there that would say like no disproportion and stuff like that. Maybe they've changed the gear and I just I haven't watched swimming long enough to know that they've changed the gear, but I seriously doubt it. Interesting that it tried to put the logos in there. That's pretty good. That's really close. Again, it's not, I mean, that's cool. We'll just say that those are cool new goggles. And if that's the case, this is also not too bad, but there's a lot of shadowing going on here that's not actually present from anything in particular. And then she looks like She-Hulk, right? And if you know anything about swimming, muscle is not what you want to have when you're when you're swimming. Seriously puts you at a disadvantage. And Firefly. My God, there's so much wrong with that. There's even more wrong with that. Yeah, and it's almost just keeps getting worse. This is like the closest to the prompt, actually. Not this, but these are actually the closest to the prompt, if you think about it, right? Nope, never mind. It's closest to the original prompt with the swimmer like taking a breath as they're going. It's closest to the original. What's cool about, I think this is what's cool about, did you not do it as a photo? Wow, never mind. Cheated you guys on that one. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to redo it. Okay. Not bad. Worse than the first. If I got rid, it's not that great. Looked like this one was going to be the best one. Kind of still is, but there's some really weird stuff going on in the water. This guy's going across the ropes. Like, so there's some like logistical issues going on with how the image is being presented. So at the end of the day, if you're going for like, again, let's just say that you're doing this image because you're writing a blog and you need your leader image for the blog. This is what you're going to get like out of Dall, which is not, again, it's not bad. Really, it's not bad. It's better than any of the pick up and go image generators I've seen, like Leonardo, right? Like this will take a little bit more work, right? It needs a little something. Either it needs, some additional prompt magic, maybe, maybe raw mode. Yeah, that's fine. Well, like, yeah, let's do that. And then changing the aspect ratio to be even wider sometimes like can help with the image itself. Guidance scale. There should be more advanced options. Input dimensions, maybe not anymore. I don't know. 16 by 9. Guidance scale, like how much I want it to stay close to the prompt. Show advanced settings. There we go. But it doesn't have the iterations. Okay, let's try this one. Bit costlier, but we'll see. And this is the last one. It's gotten there. I kind of like these, the timers. A lot of the apps have that, and it's it's not bad. It gives you a rough idea of like how long it's going to take you if you're doing like a slew of images. But I really like, you guys, if you don't have, I'm not saying you need to run out and get a Canva membership. Really not saying that. If you do a lot of content creation on the weekly, that like you use this stuff, especially if you do presentations. Like if I did presentations, I want to do presentations now just because of this. Like I want to so badly. And to be honest with you, I'm actually going to test this with a different presentation that's not mine, and I may post about that when I actually get that put together, because somebody did a slide deck recently for New Breed that was amazing. It was an amazing slide deck. And then I saw this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you could take that slide deck and you separate out those elements and then you add this animation ability into it, that would be so sick, right? And it is like very similar to this, right? So in that, what was happening with that slide deck was, equally as complicated, let's say, as what's going on in a lot of these decks that are here. Like just the number of elements, let's say, I think. Right, like it was like an infographic, like Halloween based infographic slide deck for marketing. Let's do that. just want to see like what infographics are present. Okay, so let's just say it was like this, right? Kind of want to come back and see what happened here. Nice. This is much better. Much, much better. Okay, now we're getting super, super close. And this is not Mid-Journey. This is Mid-Journey. It's really good. Not gonna lie, it's really, really good. What I want to do is vary there. Oh yeah, and some awesome tools that so you know about, if you don't already, Midjourney has the ability to zoom out on an image, which I think is effing amazing. Firefly has the same ability. A lot of other engines have the same ability. I don't know. Yep, there you go. You can unzoom. Like, again, like these tools are just becoming like the bread and butter of every application. This one's terrible, but this one is really good. So let's, oh wow, and it's already got remove background built in there. Wow, that's awesome. Let's see, what's the cost on that? Really? Huh. Huh. Wow. I just might. Because this would be the level that I'm at. Is this yep. Guys, why are you gonna do that to me? Alright, so this is like mid-journey level, is Artisan. 10 pending jobs is pretty good. Private generations, private infrastructure, relaxed generation queue. I kind of almost don't care about that. Daily tokens, fine. Wow. Background removals, huh? Upscale's not a big deal. This is really good. Seriously, like this is a really good price. I might actually have to tack on Leonardo. Okay, let's go back. So we're not going to be able to upscale, but let's see if we can unzoom. Let's see if we can zoom out on that. Okay, let's see if it's capable of doing that. I wanted to do some variation on this. And then this is supposed to be a zoom out of this. So this looks the most realistic, or that looks the most realistic. Let me see. The detail in the eyes is really great. But I mean, realistically, we're just looking at somebody who's like half buried in the water. You can't really tell that they're a swimmer. So there's that aspect to it too, right? And you can upscale this and then zoom out again. So let's do 4, I think is like the closest, or maybe 1 because at least the hair is parted in one. Back over to this one. I'm gonna click this. Animate. Yep. Actually, we should just click the page. There we go. Animate, and we're gonna do. You can do anything here. Like, look at how awesome your infographics become. Right? And this thing is like claiming that this is all one, right? So then we go into here, we say edit photo, and then magic grab. Now, I'm not saying this is going to work flawlessly right out the gate, but it should break up all the elements in this photo. Ideally, that's what I would want it to do, is to break out all of those separate little boxes that are in here, so that those all become separate animated, like separate elements that can be animated. While that's doing that, let's get rid of Firefly because it's not really doing anything. Okay, so can't really, right? Like that's another issue, is like I haven't yet been able to get Dall to stay on the same image, like to be able to do, let's say, consistent characters. So if you were trying to do, again, there's like some weird physical stuff going on here, and then, you know, this is an odd representation of the water in front of him, and there's no movement back. You know, there's just some detail stuff that's missing. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so how did this break up? Not exactly the way I wanted it to, but we could probably go even more into it, if you wanted to, anyway. So, you know, again, in my opinion, it's a really good way to change your infographics to be way, way more entertaining. Not sure what happened here. Okay, well, I'll apply the whole thing. There we go. Why not, right? Okay, so this has got like a pretty. No, it doesn't. It's not infographic at all. Grab something that has like a ton of little elements to play with. Yeah, why not social media? All right, and then we can do whatever. Doesn't even matter. What I like is that it stays in this menu too. Right, so it's almost like they dance to each other or something. Right, so all of a sudden you have these like infographic presentations that are way better than what you would normally have, right? I honestly don't know what it takes to actually present these. I don't know if it's a matter of it's like waiting to process something. Oh, it doesn't actually. There we go. All right, so like now, that's what I'm saying is like it's so nice to be able to take something that's already been. Now this stuff has already been broken apart, but if you guys watched earlier, we took something that was already um, that was done. I think it was this one, and I think it was this image, or not this image. It was this image, I think. Yeah. So we took something that was this was all one photo all together, and we took it and we were able to break it apart into a separate piece so that we could animate that separately from everything else. Right. So that's another aspect of this that's really awesome is that you're able to take images like currently existing images and do what Photoshop does. So like where did that ability come from? It quite literally everybody's just kind of taking a little bit from everybody else. Object selection tool in Photoshop. As soon as this thing warms up, if this were a photo, you'd be able to see this much more accurately. Um, but basically, let's see, subject. Don't worry about it. If it were a photo, you'd be able to definitely. Let me go ahead and do that. Actually, no, don't care. Yeah, don't care. So this is what the object selection tool does. Boom. Right, and then you can obviously you can massage that a little bit, but you can see that it automatically tells like, okay, well, if you saw it before, there was like a little bit of discrepancy there with like some odd pixels here and there. Terrible selectors would also select like the inside of that. Terrible selectors would leave off the edge there, and it would probably go to the inside here. So like the degree with which this stuff is accurate is at this point is nuts. It's awesome. The um, the whole like language model that has its own visual thing is awesome. So a lot of stuff, I went over, burned a ton of time. I am so very sorry I burned so much time on the audio thing. I will definitely get that worked out for next time so that I can show you guys what the audio capabilities in Canva are like, because you're going to go nuts. You're going to go nuts over the music that you can create, the video that you can create, which I didn't even, I'm sorry, I didn't even get into the video creator. I was playing around with it before. Projects, I always lose where I'm going in this thing. There we go. I have been playing around with it quite a bit. Is it a folder? No, it's design as suppose. Oh, well, that's kind of what the magic media is. This one is a bit like this one just shows you like a preview of that. Oh, but you guys also saw what we had done with this one as well. What I don't like about Canva, like I just expect to be able to open this project, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're selecting projects. Anyway, so if you watched earlier, we created this video in the background. We separated her out from the yellow background that was behind her, and we placed the video back there. Sure. What? Oh, that's not what I meant. I meant to. Duration is what I meant to do. There we go. Okay. And so you can do this. So we put this behind her basically because it's like a travel thing, right? So yeah, I'll cut this up. I'll highlight it and throw it up on the interwebs for you guys to take a look at. If you did stick around this whole time, thank you so much for sticking around this whole time. I'm really, again, I am so sorry that everything went way over time, as it definitely should not have. But again, I'll get the info up there when I can. Bianca, thank you for stopping in. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, like I said, I'll get this highlighted and uploaded as soon as I can so that you guys can check it out in a much shorter format, way more digestible, I'm sure. Until then, thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you guys for being here. And thank you for continually wanting to GPT with me. See ya.